Hey, good evening, Top fans. Bill from TopFanRivalry here with another Clubhouse, another top fan who just loves his team. And this one is a different one. This one is a different one. We've covered the Orioles. We've covered the Yankees. We've covered the Angels. Oh, my gosh, have we covered the Angels? Dodgers. I'm sorry, the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. We've covered them. Covered a few other teams, but Kyle's with me tonight. Kyle, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I'm so excited. We've been trying to set this up for a while. So you've heard some of the things that we've covered. Cubs. So who's your team?
My team is the Cincinnati Reds.
Woohoo!
The Big Red
The
Machine.
Red Stockings. I love it. The
Yes.
Central. Woo-hoo.
Yes.
We are in the Central.
I'm actually
tonight.
okay with saying that this year. Maybe a couple of years ago I would not have admitted it, but this year I'm okay with admitting it. So
Well, this year's a good year to admit it. And we're gonna get around to that because that's
so far.
your team's hot. Your team's hot. So
Yes. Yes.
So tell me, how did you become a Reds fan? Is it born and bred? Is it a father-son thing? Tell me.
Yeah, definitely passed down from my dad. My dad was a big Reds fan, during the Big Red Machine and the Nasty Boys, and I would always hear stories about, Tom Brenneman and all those guys, and I just grew up loving the Reds, and then ultimately loved Barry Larkin as a player. Wore number 11 when I played baseball because of Barry Larkin. So always been a Reds fan because of my dad. And so yeah, we still talk about and text every when the game's on about stuff. So that's how it was passed down to me.
So I'm assuming you're the type of guy that if you can listen to it on the radio or if you can watch it live, you're trying to make time to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when Marty was on the radio. Now Marty has retired since, but I loved listening to Marty on the radio. But now, if I can, for sure, I gotta catch every game.
Nice. Okay, so you're a Reds fan, passed down father to son. Okay, so tell me, you guys are doing well this season. It's going to be tough. You guys have to win the division, or watch the Padres fall apart. But tell me about your team this season. What do you like about them? What do you wish didn't happen?
Yeah. So currently 6 games over, won 5 of their last 7. They're at the top of the roller coaster right now. They keep going up and down, up and down, up and down. The fan in me, the emotion in me says they should be so much better than they're at. But once I take a step back and I look at it and I went into all of our statistics about like what's been happening. Let me just rattle off some things for you. Our number 1 and 2 pitchers have 16 combined losses. Eugenio Suarez is hitting $175. Mike Moustakas has played 28 games on the whole season, and we have given up the 3rd most runs in the NL. The 2 teams that have given up more are the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. So if you put all of those factors together, it's absolutely a miracle that we're within 6 games of the division and we're within 4 games in the wild card. So I'm extremely ecstatic once I look at those numbers and I realize that's where we stand. So
yeah. Oh, ouch. What's your run differential? Do you know your run differential this season?
They are +1 right now.
Woo! Anything more than that showing off, right?
Yeah, 2nd most runs scored behind the Dodgers, 3rd most runs given up.
I'm sorry, did you say the Dodgers are the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers? You must have broke up.
To the Dodgers, yes, correct.
I said that to an Angel fan and they said, you mean the half-season champion Dodgers? I'm like, whoa, wait a second.
Right.
You would have taken that trophy just like anybody else.
That's right.
You guys have I'm looking at the schedule right now. You guys have a schedule poised to move, right? So you got 2 with the Twins, 3 with the.
They have. Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they have. If they can just stay healthy, they have an off day tomorrow, but then they have a 21 games in 21-day stretch. So that's going to be a tough battle, but it is against some lower end teams per se. A lot of home games as well, but that's going to be a tough stretch there through the end of August.
Yeah, I'm looking at, you got the Twins, the Pirates, Twins for 2, Pirates for 4, and Marlins for 4 in that stretch. So, and the Cubs for 3, and the Cubs just like traded away everybody, and they are now
The
like
entire
a
infield.
triple A
Yeah.
team. So, and notice how everybody that they traded
Yes.
away homered in their first game with their new club. That's awesome, right? Rizzo homered, Baez homered, everybody that they
All
traded
that
away.
today. Baez was with the Mets and he homered against us. But
Yeah, you're like, oh man, oh man. Well,
yep.
so I'm going to give you the test, the challenge right now. You're a Reds fan. The Reds have been around forever. And so we did this with the Yankee fan. We do this with every top fan that comes on. So we are going to go around the diamond, starting with catcher, all the way through 3 outfielders, 2 starters, and 1 relief pitcher. If you could make the best Reds team of all time, who is it? And which positions are they at? I mean, because you got Pete Rose who played just about every position. So take me through this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best here because most of these guys were Reds legends way before I was even alive. So I'll start at first base though. I'll start at first base. I'm gonna go with Joey Votto. That's the current strategy. But then you got to move to Joe Morgan second. You got to move to Barry Larkin at short. You got to move to let's go Pete Rose at third, and then in the outfield, I would say Frank Robinson, and then a really old throwback that I hear all the time, Vada Pinson in center field. But I don't know if I can. Nothing comes to mind in left field right away. I mean, I know Rose played out there too as well, but that one's
What
a
about
tough
Eric
one.
Davis? What about Eric
I was
Davis?
gonna say Eric the Red. Eric the Red is up there. Tony Perez could also be on there in one of the hot corners. So I mean, they had a lot of guys. So probably Eric the Red would probably round that out. So
Yeah. I hated him when he played for the Reds because he was a Dodger killer, and I loved him when he played for the Dodgers until he started hitting just about what Cody Bellinger's hitting, about $160, and then it wasn't as much fun to watch him. Oh,
yeah,
I like that. So tell me who's
that's a
behind the
pretty good
dish.
all time lineup for sure.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me who's behind the dish.
Johnny Bench is behind the dish.
Okay. Who now you've got a best out of 5 series and you can only use 2 starters. Who are your 2 starters?
I gotta go with Tom Browning just because my dad grew up on that, and that was always him, and I always remember hearing the story about Tom Browning getting thrown out of the game and going and sitting in the bleachers with the Cubs fans. So I love that, but also a name that you don't really hear a lot, but Jim Maloney was a phenomenal starting pitcher for the Reds for a long time. So I'll go with those 2, I guess.
So can we make an honorable mention here?
Go ahead.
How about Tom Seaver?
But for me, I don't know why, but the Mets come to mind more for Tom Seaver. I don't know why, but
That's true. That's true.
so
That's true.
I don't know why. Being a Reds fan, you would think it would be the Reds, but for whatever reason, I picture him as a Met. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's true. He had some great seasons in New York too, but man, he for some reason, again, another guy that used to tune it up against the Dodgers when they played Cincinnati. And it drive the guy could be, he could have a 3 for 7 start in the season, and all 3 of those wins were against the Dodgers. I'm like, oh man. All right, who's your closer? You're gonna shut down the game. Who do you want to be on the bump?
Man, you have the nasty boys that that just initially jumps out at you, but I'm gonna go with Danny Graves. Just the gravestone, Danny Graves. I'll go with him.
Nice, I love it, man. And see, the thing that I love about the Reds, and if you've watched it, I think you have, but my predictions for this season were the Reds to take the Central. Nobody would have thought that they would have the injuries that
Yeah.
they had. Nobody would have thought the Brewers would have been as good as the Brewers were. I mean, the Brewers have just hit a strike of luck. I don't think that they're that good, nor do I think they're going to be that good in the playoffs if they get there. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
They have
man, I
really
love
good
looking at
starting
this.
pitching and a really good bullpen. So that wins games right now in the big leagues right now.
I love looking at this list too because you forget how many people that played for the Reds that were part of
Yeah.
either that big red machine or coming off. I mean, Tony Perez, we mentioned him, but Dave Concepcion, right?
Yeah.
And then one of my closet favorite guys to watch in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s was Chris Sabo, those crazy
I
glasses.
love. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that guy was so much fun.
Paul O'Neill.
Oh, kicking the ball in the infield, right?
Yes.
They show that
Exactly.
on Diamond Vision all the time, right? They're talking
Yes.
about
Kicking it
Vegas.
right on a tee, right in.
I know. Listen, 100 times over, if you tried that again, I bet
that
you could do it.
would never work. It would never work.
Yeah, exactly. I
That was
mean,
the old AstroTurf days.
yeah. Good old, what was it, Riverfront? Was that you guys?
I think it was technically, yeah, I think it was technically Synergy or Synergy Field, I think, before it became Riverfront. I don't know. They've had so many different names on that turf for a while, but I think it was technically Synergy at that point, and then it became Riverfront. Then now the GABP. So
Yeah. And the Great American Ballpark is gorgeous from the pictures that I've seen. So,
yes, beautiful park.
I have to admit, one of the things I like the Reds don't do that I wish that more teams wouldn't done, and here I'm speaking as a Dodger fan. We just bought a rental Max Scherzer, right? One of the things that the Reds don't do a lot is chase after that one big name for a half a season, or they usually build up their system. They build up and the Reds have got a lot of young guys right now, a lot of young guys. And so, I mean, tell me, is it out of the realm of possibility for you guys to win 95 games next season?
Yeah, I mean they got everybody's coming back from this team that they currently have. They have Castellanos, who's having an MVP season right now. He's locked up for 2 more years. If Moustakas can get healthy, he's locked up for 2 more years. Votto's got 3.5 more years on his deal. Suarez is locked up, and then the 2 rookies and Winker's having an unbelievable season right now as well. So, and then they're having 2 rookies. Jonathan India, their 4th overall pick 2 years ago from Florida, hitting leadoff. He's hitting 280 this year, just having a phenomenal year. And then the catcher Tyler Stevenson, also a rookie, hitting about 290 and catching. Figuring out the staff, but they have a really good young offensive nucleus. It's just, do they have the starting pitching? They got some arms coming up. I still think that their arms are, maybe a couple levels away. I think, Hunter Green in Double-A and Nick Lodolo in Double-A. They're 2 first-round picks from 2 out of the last 3 years. But they have everybody coming back again. So I think they have a shot next year. They're going to score runs. It's just if they can get anybody out, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, I know that you and I have talked about this offline a lot, and it's not scoring the runs, it's holding the lead, and that's where your frustration, lies.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
and you can speak to a lot of Angel fans about that too, by the way.
Yes.
The runs.
They probably have. Well, I can definitely speak to it because their closer used to be our closer, and I used to get frustrated by him, Raisel Iglesias. So I totally get it.
Oh man, I got a great story for you about Jose Iglesias at some point, but so tell me, we've got 58 games or so left, 55 games, somewhere in there. Do you guys make the playoffs, or do you barely miss it, or do you win the division?
I think that if I had to guess, I would say that we sneak in somehow into the second wild card by like a half a game. I think that they're just like That's what I feel. I think the 3-team race in the West, they're going to beat each other up so many times. Somebody's going to drop out of that, especially if Tatis is out for the rest of the year. I could see the Padres, going back, but I think they sneak in, and if they don't sneak in the second spot, they're right out of it by a game or less down the stretch. So I don't think they catch the Brewers, unfortunately, but I think they have a definite shot at the second wild card.
So I'm looking it up right now to try to get a little bit of your flavor for that, because I think you made a very valid point here. The Dodgers play the Padres 3 times in August, which that can only help you, right? And then they play the Padres. They play the Padres 3 games in September. Then they have 3 games with the Diamondbacks, and they go to Great American Ballpark. So at least we'll help you out with the Padres, and then we'll take it back from you. No,
our hope is we have 9 games in September with the Pirates. So that could be our saving grace down the stretch, is if they can beat their division foe and when it really matters.
And I have to be honest with you, it's weird to say this being a Southern California guy, but I have to be honest. In baseball, there's marquee teams. We would both agree with that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it's good for baseball when certain teams are in. It's, no disrespect, but if we had a World Series with Seattle and Miami in it, we may not get a lot of viewership outside of Seattle and Miami, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if Miami's tuning in for their own team.
That's probably true. But when the Reds are in it, it's also good. It's great for baseball. It's it's one of those long teams, and at least they still have the same name. They're not the Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever it is up the road from you guys, right?
Yeah, we could do a whole separate episode on that. I'm sure we could plenty of discussion on that. But.
Amen. Okay, so what I hear you saying, we're on August 1st of 2021. I hear you saying right now the Reds are sneaking into the playoffs. I like it, but that's what I hear you saying, yeah?
That's the fan enthusiasm in me and the analytics just saying it can't get any worse. It's got to bounce back our way. So yes.
Okay, so Kyle, you need to come back when all the playoffs are set and the Reds are in. We need to do another one of these, and we'll reference back to August 1st. How's that?
I hope so. I hope that they're in. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to just being competitive again. They made the playoffs last year in the shortened season, didn't score, but they made the playoffs. So let's try to keep that going.
Who was on the mound for that game?
For which game?
Against the Braves last year.
Well, the player that may not be named in Dodger land anymore.
The player that will never play professional baseball again, probably.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be just flying his drones around, I think, going forward.
Something like that. Well, Kyle, thanks for joining me. I know it's late back there on the East Coast, but I appreciate you joining me. You're always welcome to come back into the clubhouse.
Yes.
But we're going to do a playoff episode when the playoffs hit, regardless of who's in there. I mean, let's face it, the Dodgers have a bunch of injuries. We can miss playoffs too. It might be the Padres against the Reds for that wild card game. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. We'll see.
But I'd love to have you back. I love your knowledge of the game. I love your analytics of the game, and I love the fact that you're a Reds fan.
Yes. Well, thank you again for having me on.
No problem. All right, Top fans, by all means, watch. Feel free to comment on the article or comment on this edition. Kyle's been gracious enough to join me. It's late back on the East Coast, but he's here. So thank you, Top fans, for watching. Subscribe, make comments. We love it all. We'll talk to you soon.